Imagine you're behind the wheel of a car, cruising down an endless, completely empty highway. 40 years back, you locked the steering straight ahead. You haven't hit the brakes once. You haven't touched the gas pedal either. No wind blows. No road even exists beneath you. Just pure nothingness all around. Now picture this. Without you laying a finger on anything, the car suddenly turns. It doesn't drift lazily. It steers deliberately. It redirects itself toward a shadowy patch out in the desert and comes to a stop, just waiting. This isn't some made-up scenario. It's unfolding at this very moment, 15 billion miles from Earth. NASA reports that Voyager 1 is once again transmitting usable data. But what they're sharing with the public is barely the surface. The real story runs much deeper. For 46 years, Voyager 1 followed its programming perfectly. Transmit data, never deviate, never listen for anything else. Then, out of nowhere, its antenna shifted. Something responded. Not from Earth. Not from any catalog star. But from an apparently vacant section of sky that should hold nothing at all. What followed wasn't merely odd. It was flat out impossible. Voyager 1 didn't simply malfunction. It made a decision. Or perhaps something decided for it. Let's get to know the victim here. Voyager 1 is essentially a time capsule. Launched September 5th, 1977. It's powered by 800 watts of plutonium and equipped with memory smaller than one JPEG file. No sophisticated AI on board. No instruments built to hunt for life. Its single purpose, get out. It sped past Jupiter and Saturn, crossed the heliopause back in 2012, and slipped into the interstellar medium, that vast, nameless region beyond the sun's reach. Out there, our sun shrinks to just another faint. No solar wind nudges it. No gravity tugs it along. Physics says nothing should ever happen in a place like that. Yet for more than 4 decades, it coasted in utter quiet. The most distant human-made object ever. Adrift in what amounts to a cosmic sensory deprivation chamber. Until November 6th, 2023, when that silence didn't merely end, it exploded. The trouble began with a transmission that seemed wrong. Data returned garbled, resembling static-filled gibberish with no recognizable structure. NASA engineers first blamed the classics, cosmic rays or worn-out wiring. Fair enough, it's a 46-year-old spacecraft. But then the fault protection routines activated. These are last-resort measures meant for disasters, like uncontrolled spinning. Here's what terrifies. They triggered without any obvious cause. No command came from mission control. No collision with debris. Still, Voyager began behaving as though struck by something unseen. Telemetry turned illegible. Attitude records disappeared. Onboard clocks slipped out of synchronization. This wasn't ordinary bit flip corruption. Something penetrated deeper into the very framework of the craft. It reacted to a stimulus it couldn't comprehend, essentially shrieking in terror at an invisible presence. If the data felt eerie, the physical motion was outright defying physics. Shortly after those emergency systems engaged, Voyager 1 performed an action it should never manage independently. It turned. Its high-gain antenna, engineered to remain forever locked on Earth for communication, repositioned itself, but didn't swing back toward us. Instead, it pointed straight at an empty region of sky containing nothing observable. Now the physics really fractures. That reorientation happened without thruster activity. No propulsion events logged. No jets fired. The attitude simply altered by itself. NASA tested every possibility. Hacking attempts, software glitches, even solar radiation pressure. All ruled out. Yet the onboard gyroscopes clearly detected torque. A genuine physical twist. A probe drifting through the emptiest, quietest void humanity knows was nudged. It felt deliberate, subtle, like something out there recognized Voyager's architecture and chose to redirect it. And toward what? A null zone, a hypothetical region where gravitational influences balance to zero. A location the probe had no way of knowing about. Once it fixed on that null zone, Voyager stopped behaving like a bewildered machine and began acting like a tuned receiver. The antenna held position. Then the plasma wave instrument detected something fresh. Not the usual random deep space hiss. A tone, soft, constant, holding steady around 30,000 hertz. Scientists dubbed it the plasma melody due to its rhythmic pulsing. Audio specialists studied the waveform and discovered mirrored patterns plus perfectly spaced pauses. It moved like music encoded in mathematics. Buried within that hum lay data, impossible data. Not basic readings like temperature or speed. Hex strings, recursive equations, fractal symmetries. Certain values aligned with cosmic constants, yet displayed accuracy far beyond what 1970s sensors could achieve. It seemed the probe had become a carrier, ferrying someone else's information back toward Earth. The signal arrived pristine, narrow, and targeted solely at Voyager 1. It never leaked to nearby probes like Pioneer. Whatever originated, it knew precisely the spacecraft's location and timing. While Voyager channeled this impossible mathematical symphony, Earthbound researchers didn't simply listen passively. They pointed telescopes. High-exposure infrared arrays from ground observatories targeted that same barren patch Voyager now faced. Initially, nothing but darkness. They held the exposure longer. Weeks later, faint data emerged. Not a star, not a galaxy. A subtle, shimmering halo hovering at the limit of detectability. The unsettling detail, it was dynamic. The halo didn't remain static. It blinked, and not randomly, it responded. Every time our sun released a flare, a surge of charged particles, the halo flickered back shortly after. The timing wasn't coincidental. It synced deliberately, mirroring the solar cadence like a partner matching rhythm in a dance. We weren't observing gas or plasma. We were watching something that monitored our sun and replied to it. Then, right as concern mounted at NASA, Voyager 1 did the unthinkable for any space probe. It went dead. 12 solid hours of total blackout. Flatline silence. For a craft that endured decades of radiation and solar storms, this had never happened. Then abruptly it revived, but the Voyager that reappeared felt altered. Upon reconnection, internal clocks were incorrect, not merely delayed, but completely reset. New timestamps refused to align with any Earth timeline. Those 12 hours suggested the probe hadn't simply powered down. It had traveled somewhere else, somewhere time operated differently. No mechanical resets were recorded. It resembled the craft passing through a threshold, emerging change touched. To determine whether this was mere glitch or genuine phenomenon, a European Space Agency team examined our largest cosmic map, the Cosmic Microwave Background, CMB, the Big Bang's lingering echo, the universe's oldest light. That map should stay unchanging. Yet cross-checking Voyager's trajectory against deep-field CMB data revealed a shadow. Hidden in the noise lay a structured distortion, a ripple, a silhouette matching the probe's present heading perfectly. The part that haunts astrophysicists. The ripple predated the event. It existed decades earlier. They reviewed archived Planck and WMAP data. The anomaly was always present. This suggests something horrifying. The universe's background hum knew Voyager 1's position in 2023. It wasn't coincidence. It was scheduled. The return data proved unreadable on conventional systems, overloaded with recursive structures and fractal intricacy. Standard supercomputers failed, so they turned to quantum processing, feeding it into a Majorana 1 chip. Built for probabilistic complexity rather than binary logic, the system didn't merely decode. It recognized language. Patterns looped inward like logical sentences. After translation, it produced one line. Not coordinates, not equations, just a question. Are you ready to listen? Deeper still, at the file's heart, rested a sound. A pure, unwavering 30,000 hertz tone. Analysts insist it's no random noise. It contains intervals, pauses, harmonic relationships. It's music, a composition from the abyss, inquiring whether we've finally become awake enough to perceive it. How do experts frame this? How does one rationalize a 1970s machine processing quantum mathematics? They dropped malfunction. They adopted field interaction. The surrounding energy didn't act like radiation, particles, or interference. It didn't disperse or erupt like natural events. It behaved purposefully. When Voyager rotated, the field rotated alongside. When transmissions peaked, rhythm answered. The beam stayed tight and directed, not a broadcast flare, but a controlled handshake. Whatever contacted Voyager in that desolate void violated known physics. Initially, many theorized a stray galactic signal intercepted by chance. That idea collapsed. As analysis deepened, the events felt less like an incoming message and more like a response provoked by Voyager itself. Every anomaly, the tone, the turn, the code, converged on one specific point. It resembled less a shout into the dark and more an echo returning. Consider this. What if Voyager never received anything? What if it tapped something and something tapped back? The reply arrived calmly, rhythmically, as though patiently awaiting the chance to respond. This wasn't humanity discovering aliens. It was something detecting us, acknowledging us, and choosing to greet. Officially, NASA stayed composed, issuing measured statements about signal irregularities and continued study, all wrapped in dry technical language to avoid alarm. Behind closed doors, however, chaos reigned. Documents received classification stamps. Off-record high-level sessions multiplied. Teams were reassigned exclusively to Voyager. Retired engineers from decades past were urgently recalled. Why the urgency? The chronology defied logic. The Department of Defense registered discrete interest. A 1970s relic had independently altered course, captured a structured signal it lacked hardware to interpret, and emerged from blackout carrying code formats it was never built for. The panic stemmed not from failure, but from success of something unintended. The coldest truth lands here. Nothing struck harder than those 12 silent hours. During that interval, Voyager vanished, and whatever it traversed transformed everything. Anyone who's reviewed the raw, unfiltered transmission breakdowns reaches the same unshakable conclusion. Voyager wasn't alone out there. Something located it. Something waited. When the instant arrived, it replied. We tossed a message in a bottle into the cosmic sea, expecting perhaps discovery in a million years. We never imagined the sea itself, watching the second our bottle touched the water. So we're confronted with a terrifying possibility. We once gazed at the stars wondering whether solitude defined us. Voyager may first have quietly settled that question. It didn't encounter armadas or doomsday weapons. It encountered a hum, a pulse, a field aware of its approach. Now, I turn it to you, and I want you to truly consider, what do you believe occupies that null zone? A misunderstood natural effect? Or precisely what the mathematics implies? A listening station, a sensor, perhaps even a doorway? And if something did respond, should we reply? Drop your theories in the comments. I read even the wildest ones. If this kept you gripped, smash that like button to help the algorithm, and subscribe so we can keep pursuing the unknown together. Voyager remains out there. As long as it speaks, we keep listening. I'd love to hear what you think about this, so drop a comment below. If you enjoyed our conversation today, please share this video and subscribe to help the channel grow. Every bit of support counts.